What up, zeros and ones? This is Mike Bust of Arcadians, and in this video I'm going to be presenting Viride's guild card. The concept of a guild card is sort of lost in Monster Hunter Tri, but I'm basically going to do it anyway. The other Monster Hunter games have a really cool guild card system, and I'm just going to visually and narratorially, is that a word? The grammar police are going to nail me over that, I'm sure. I'm gonna narrate and show my guild card, which is like the extent of. Well, I'm going to present the guild card as my awards, my monster count, and my equipment sets. And that's what I'm deciding a guild card is in Monster Hunter Tri, completely arbitrarily. So, start with my awards. All the awards, except for the gold crowns for smallness and largeness. Yeah, I haven't made an effort on these, honestly. I haven't gone through the process of farming the monsters that I don't yet have gold crowns for either small or large. So that's kind of understandable. I don't have that one, and the rest are just sort of basic. I mean, really, the only vaguely complex one was the arena one, where you have to do all the arena quests. Is that this one? No. Where is it? Oh, I don't know where it is. But yeah, the arena one was kind of weird. Other than that, though, everything else was just pretty basic. My monster list. I'm not incredibly proud of my monster list, but I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the number of monsters I have effectively killed at this point. Trash monsters, who cares? Apparently I'm nice to Epiots. I never even realized I was, but apparently I am. Binahobras, death to Binahobras, man. I don't even know if I hunted half of these. I think they just blew up, coincidentally from things killing them accidentally. Maybe. Yeah, trash monsters. Who cares about trash monsters? Seriously. There's a lot of Jaggies, though. Okay, so the big guys. Most of my great Jaggies came from single player, honestly. Just working up practice and experience on the weapon classes and learning how to do combos and stuff like that. Not a great Baggy fan. He's just sort of like another trash monster to me, even though he's technically not. But yeah, not a huge fan. I like me some Baroth. A lot of those slain Baroths were soloed in high rank with bowguns, and Baroth was kind of a big practice monster for me when I was learning how to solo monsters in high rank with the bowgun, because he sort of melts for bowguns where he doesn't, in my opinion, for other weapon classes. And there's a lot of really cool things you can do bowgunning wise. My favorite is setting up large barrel bombs, waiting for him to charge, and just blasting him with the large barrel bombs as he's running through him. And then, of course, he flinches, you just nail him with more crag shots. Good times, man. Good times. I love me some Uragon. Yeah, definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. Also guiltily, some of these came from low rank, harvesting up Bone Husk L. That's one of a few methods of getting Bone Husk L, and that worked out pretty well for me to work up my Dragon Shots and my Wyvern Fire 3 supply. Kurapekos, haven't even got a single crown for smallness. That's pretty bizarre. I farmed up a lot of Kurapekos when I started high rank, because I really wanted high rank Kurapeko armor. So I'm a little surprised that I don't have any crowns at all for smallness. What are you going to do, though? Rathians, not much of a fan, but I've done a lot of Double Trouble, and so I just incidentally kill Rathians because I love me some Rathalos. A lot of those Rathalos were soloed in high rank, probably 30 to 40. And, I guess it's not really a lot. It's only 10-ish to 20-ish%. But big fan of the Rathalos solo. Diablos, my numbers are pretty low, actually, considering I have a whole bunch of Diablos bowgunning gear. And so I'm not sure how that happened. He's just over 100 in total. It's kind of weird. Not a Giganox fan. Sorry. Just not. Barioth. I had to work up a ton of Barioth claws. I really wanted full high rank Blade Master armor, Gunner armor, and I wanted the Lance. I wanted the full bowgunning set. I really wanted a whole bunch of stuff for Barioth, which I now barely use. I'll pull out the Gunner armor for lots of evasion stats occasionally, and I use the Blizzard Cannon stock. Occasionally I'll use the Blizzard Cannon frame, but I do use the Blizzard Cannon stock quite often. I don't know, it's kind of a weird incidence there. Royal Ludroths. I am guilty of being one of those people that farmed up tons of Royal Ludroths for dash extracts and village resources, and so 347 captures in Royal Ludroth actually goes really quick when you're just doing it for that purpose. Gobbles. It's my favorite monster technically, but I actually haven't killed that many of them. I think that a lot of that is that he's not that much fun to solo. Even though I love the idea of Gobble, he's not actually that much fun to hunt, interestingly enough. Not that much Logi stuff. Legiacris and I, bit of a tortured relationship. I'm not a huge fan. The underwater mechanics tend to kind of baffle me, so I stay away from him for the most part. I've done a few of them. Agnoctors, I'm really surprised that his numbers are as low as they were, because I got up a lot of the lancing stuff. The Fire Lance, I had low rank and high rank full armor for Blade Master. You know, I'm surprised those numbers are as low as they are. Cedeus, I've almost, you know, just really not even touched him to the degree that other players have. I've had really good luck with Deep Dragon Gems. I think I've worked up about 6 or 7 so far. And of course I did the farming method where you flee him the first time and come back and kill him for maximal rewards. And yeah, I just haven't really had to do too much Cedeus, so I haven't even got the title yet for that. So maybe I'll work out around to that one of these days. Devil Joes, love me some Devil Joes. So many of these came from the Jagia Menace, just doubling up the Devil Joes over and over again. Whenever I go on with the Capcom Unity people, everyone loves Jagia Menace. I mean, I usually run that quest like 3 to 4 times just in a regular night where I'm not even hunting that much. Gen Moran, haven't done that many of them. I have yet to do a solo with Gen Moran. I really want to do a bowgun solo with Gen. I'm not quite sure how I'll do it though. I'm sure I'll end up using Wyvern Fire, just knowing me. Kind of a decent amount of Elatrions. Never soloed him. Have yet to really master my Elatrion technique. But, you know, he has so much great gear, and he is really fun to hunt. I mean, Elatrion is a great time. Even if I'm doing poorly against Elatrion, I find that I'm always having a really good time. And maybe it's just because the stress levels of this game kind of appeal to me in a lot of ways. So yeah, that's my monster count, and moving on to my equipment sets. So I should probably start with this one, yeah? This is the Operation Feline Plow set. And I honestly have to say, this is the set that I am most proud of, even though it's not particularly logical. I really liked working with Wes on the Operation Feline Plow trailer, and this is my equipment set for basically having a unique, sort of earthy-looking, gathering-looking kind of set. Wes dictated sort of the details of the set, and I used the Aquamatic Spark and the pink hat, actually as an homage to Wes himself. It's just a fun set, and one of the ones that I like to just kind of sport around in. But again, it's not exactly useful. It's just fun looking and decently works for doing silly stuff. But yeah, Operation Feline Plow. This, I'm sort of convinced somewhere in the back of my head that this is actually the penultimate bowgun for high rank. And this is sort of illogical of me, I realize, but it's like a mix of full status, rapid fire dragon, and with a Wyvern 3 emphasis that works really well. And the bowgun parts are Wrathling plus frame, and the rest is just Elatrion, Chaos Wing barrel, Chaos Wing stock. And the idea is to just run full paralysis, maybe sleep bomb once if I want to, rapid fire a couple dragon shots, and get in the Wyvern 3s. Basically, I either go with if I want a really penultimate kind of bowgun set, I either go with this one, especially if the monster is weak to dragon damage, or I go with this one. And this is basically a variation on that same theme. The idea here is to have Trap Master instead of Elemental Attack Up, Recoil down +3 instead of +2. You end up with reload speed -1, which kind of sucks. But what you end up with in exchange, you've still got the paralysis, you've got a little more rapid fire dragon, you've got the Wyvern 3s, and yeah, it's just kind of a variation on that theme of using status and Wyvern 3 and rapid fire dragon. And just depending on the context, I go with one or the other if I'm looking for that sort of endgame dragony damage Wyvern Fire 3 kind of set. So it's a fun one. The Trap Master, this one actually becomes really fun because you link in the paralysis and the Wyvern Fire, you get the Trap Master in there, everything goes just great. Just great. So I've talked about this set before. This is my my favorite Pierce Gunning set. And the idea behind this is to get the lowest range possible, 0.54, really nice Pierce loadout. It's usually illogical to use Recoil down +1 in a Pierce set, but because these Pierce Gunning parts work so well together, to create a low-range, high damage output pierce shot set, I basically just forgive that, usually. But if I don't want to forgive that and I want something a little different, then I pierce gun with this, which is just kind of a variation on that theme of using Diablo's parts, but instead of emphasizing precision, steadiness +2, and recoil down +1, I just go for straight critical eye and pierce shot all up. And the idea behind this is, by using these bowgunning parts, I still get a range of 0.6, which is great. And the Thundercris Rex frame only has low left deviation. So when you put on, I'm almost certain that this is how it works with the deviation, but if you put on the Barazuka barrel with the Thundercris Rex frame, the deviation is only high left instead of high plus left. And I've practiced with this a lot, where the deviation really just goes in the exact same direction all the time. It's not going high plus, to the best of my knowledge. High plus is where you get into really bad deviation that varies, and it'll change each time. But you can depend on high left. It always goes to the same position. You got 40% affinity. That's a super cool pierce gunning setup. You basically end off at Pierce 1 and Pierce 2. But that's awesome. By going with the Thundercris Rex stock, I get more Pierce 2. If I wanted to go emphasis on Pierce 1, I would just use the Thundercris stock. So no big deal there. Those are my 2 Pierce sets. What do we got here? This is my Adrenaline +2 Wyvern Fire set. And this is a neat concept. I did the Phantom Uragon with this, with Adrenaline +2 and Wyvern Fire. Yeah, really not much else to say other than that. It's got lots of poison, some exhaust, some dragon shots. It's pretty cool. I like it. I don't often use Adrenaline +2. I'm not much of an Adrenaline junkie in Monster Hunter. But I do like this set, and I like soloing stuff with it, especially. I haven't recorded a whole lot with it, but it's fun. I have a clutch shot set. I just have one, really. I mean, I'm not a big clusting kind of guy. I really like explosive shots, but clust is actually my least favorite of the explosive shots. And this is just basically set up around the idea of sleep bombing, paralyzing, and doing all that fun stuff, and firing lots of clutch shots. I don't know. I think it's okay. I use it occasionally. I've only used it probably like 3 or 4 times in total. I don't know. This is my Elatrion Buster. Good times. Man, I've had so many good times in this set. People really have argued with me on a number of occasions over using Guard Plus on the bowgun. It works for me. I really like it. Wyvern Fire 1 and 2, and enough recoil to use them. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a fun one, man. What else we got in here? Apparently I'm standing behind the box now. It's classy. This is, of course, the Feline Plow set. I already showed you that one. I always try to keep a blank set in the middle between my bowgun sets and my Blade Master sets, so I go, oh, okay, I'm about to go into Blade Master sets. Usually when I start off, if like, I just joined up with a team, I got a whole bunch of people standing around, I always look here first. I go, do I want a Dragon Shot? Do I want a Trap Master and Wyvern Fire and Dragon Shot? Do I want a Pierce? But occasionally I'll want to go in for some status gunning, and my status guns are always to the left of the middle as you start off in the equipment sets, and that way I can just find them really easily. And my status sets are weird. I don't status gun the way that people usually do, for the most part. And here's one that I happen to really, really like. And this is basically a status gun that emphasizes shot damage. And so you can paralyze, you can sleep to a certain extent, you get lots of exhaust, and you've got a range of 0.60 with a really high affinity and damage for the pierce shots, or the pellet shots, or the normal 3s. You basically choose your path from there as to how you want to extend forward. I know there's a slightly better way to do this if you want to just main pierce, in which you basically just go for pierce level 1 up, pierce boost, recoil down +2, steadiness +2, and you get a little more life out of your pierce shots. But do remember that the affinity, that 30% affinity, does affect the status shots as well. They're only coming in at 15 power, so they're not like really damaging, but you're sort of like splitting all differences this way, and you can basically pick your ammunition and keep the exact same set all set up with all those exhaust shots and all that paralysis. It's a fun one, man. This is one of my favorite. The 4 slicing shots, too. I really like slicing shots on the bowgun. And so my other status gunning shot, when I don't want to emphasize shot damage, I go with this. And this is a little more traditional, not really. It's kind of based around the idea of doing lots of sleep bombing, paralyzing, and having dragon shots as a backup shot with the elemental attack up. I've also got a really good loadout of just general elemental shots. So if I want to do status gunning, this has got a really good elemental attack emphasis. And with the Trap Master and the sleep bombing potential with Bombardier, it's just really fantastic how it all works together. The only real disadvantage to this is that the frame is the Chaos Wing frame, which is a folding frame. And if you're using Trap Master and trying to get traps down fast, usually you want to stick with the non-folding frames. But everything else works so well here that I basically put up with that fact. And those are my go-to status gunning sets. So I do have some Blade Master sets. I have to admit that I am a really goofy player on Blade Master. Like I don't Blade Master like anyone else, really. I'm sure there's other people that probably do, and it's not a good thing that I do it this way. But this is kind of how I Blade Master and how I've sort of taken the skills that I worked up in single player and brought them forward in the game. So my go-to lancing set, and yes, I am that idiot that uses evasion +1 and guard +1 on the lance. And I even use earplugs, even though you technically don't even need that because you can just counter through screams. Nevertheless, this is how I set up my lancing for the most part. It's basically just how I manage around my own lack of skill on that weapon class. But I really like the lance, so there you go. Oh, yes, the Iron Devil. Oh. I was told once that earplugs and sharpness +1 are noob skills for the hammer. I have no idea, man. I'm kind of a hammering noob. Honestly, I have a lot more hammer skill now because Derailer emphasized hammers and bowguns when I was going back through single player. So, this is just how I like to hammer and how I use the Iron Devil. I know that Chump from Capcom Unity has a similar version of the set with high-grade earplugs, and I don't have that one. Unfortunately, I just have earplugs. But apparently it's a noob skill. Just kidding, by the way. I'm not, intending anything offensive by that. If you think it's a noob skill, then sure, no problem. When I Blade Master without earplugs, and again, I have to use that, I really like to go one of two ways with Vangelis. And I have a really nice talisman that has +10 perception and +7 speed sharpening. So I either go with Capture Guru and Auto Tracker, which means you just don't have to paintball the monster. And if you've seen any of my other playthrough videos, you know I'm not good at paintballing. So Auto Tracker and Capture Guru work really well for me, and then I can sharpen up real fast. And of course, the Great Insidious is really cool because it's got a really hefty attack and it's got that power file, but it doesn't really have too much white sharpness to the best of my opinion on these things. And I'm again kind of a goofy Blade Master user, so there you go. But otherwise, I'll just go with Attack Up Large instead. Yeah, what are you going to do? I guess I could probably find a way to get out Raise Hunger, but I always use Mega Dash juices, so it's not a big deal. Again, almost 400 captured Royal Ludras later. Yet I digress. This is also a completely stupid set that I happen to absolutely love using, which is you put Punishing Draw on a Paralysis Sword and Shield, and try to knock stuff out and paralyze them. I have a really good time running this. And usually if I'm in a mood to not bowgun, this is usually the set that I put on first, and I just have a lot of fun with it, and then get frustrated halfway through the hunt, and then take it off. But I always come back to this. Worrywart is a horrible, horrible negative skill. I mean, really, really bad. And it's just unfortunate that I don't have a better Punishing Draw talisman. I think I could probably do this differently. I'm sure there's a reason why I'm doing it this way. I probably lacked a decoration or something to just use like a 3 slot and get +4 in Punishing Draw. I'm sure there's a reason why I'm doing it this way, although I don't know what it is at the moment. But yeah, that's always a fun set for me. Good times. And I guess that brings me to my last two sets, which is just like a very generic capturing set. And I put Speed Gather on this one because if you do the Royal Ludroth Village quest, capture quest, and just farm that one for resource points, the Huskberry gathering points around there will yield spider webs. So I've basically invented a method of gathering up spider webs while I'm doing Royal Ludroth captures. It's kind of cheesy. It works for me. What are you going to do? When I like to greatsword, I like to greatsword like this. I like to try and go for knockouts, and of course go for the critical draw and sharpness +1, and just try to do a lot of damage and go for knockouts and just have a good time with it. Yeah, it's just how I like to do that. And of course, what did I call it? Did I call this a gathering set? I meant that this is like a capture set. I apologize if I messed it up. This is my gathering set, of course, for just working up basic items. And is that the end? This is the end. The end is the emerald green Zoro. Oh, she's not the right color. Let's get that color right. You guys get to see my patent green. Oh, is it the right color? Yeah, okay. I was confused because I could see the little half dress there. Yeah. Emerald green Zoro, dude. I don't think it gets much better than that. I think it's pretty awesome looking. This is Mike Bust from Arcadians. Thank you for putting up with 20 minutes of me babbling about my Monster Hunter character without actually hunting any monsters whatsoever. Peace out, Planet Monster Hunter.